Hello everybody, Raven Knight here. Wanted to do a quick talk today about something that has been coming up quite a bit in the For Honor discussions, especially as we get closer to Season 2 of this year and we know what's coming. I want to talk a little bit about the Outlanders in For Honor today, guys. I want to talk about what they are, want to clarify my thoughts on them. I want to talk about why I actually think they're a good thing, like what they're going to bring good to the game. I want to talk about what heroes I'd like to see come, and then I want to also talk about some of the risks that come along with the Outlanders. So bear with me, guys. I'll try to make this brief, but here we go. Let's talk about the Outlanders and what they mean for Honor. So first of all, what are the Outlanders? I think a lot of people right now are a little confused on what For Honor wants to do with the Outlanders, and from my perspective, I believe that the Outlanders are essentially going to be an other, like they're the rest faction. For example, if you want to insert a hero from, say, let's say that we want a hero from, say, Africa. We want an African hero or a Native American hero, something along those lines. And the question is, okay, which faction do we fit them into? Well, they don't really fit neatly into any of the factions. Not the Knights, not the Vikings, not the Samurai, and definitely not the Wulin. So what do we do with them? Where do we insert them? Well, we can just put them in the other category. And that other category is the Outlanders, because the Outlanders can consist of any number of factions or heroes or cultures that we want to. They're just kind of an amalgamation of different warriors and heroes. But I do not believe that the Outlanders are somehow a uniform, functional organization. I do not believe that any members of the Outlanders are going to be working closely with other members. Like, for example, I don't think that the other Outlanders are members of the Pirate's crew. I do not believe that the Pirate and whoever else is added into the Outlanders are somehow connected or somehow working together. They might be, but I don't think that the Outlanders as a general rule is going to be like the Knights, Vikings, or Samurai. There's this sense that with the other factions, they are kind of a uniform group. They're an organization. They are in and of themselves a faction. Whereas with the Outlanders, they're not really a faction in the sense that they all work together for a similar goal. Rather, they're just a collection of heroes who don't fit with the other factions, and thus they're the island of misfit toys from the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer Rankin Bass movie. You know, they're just the ones who don't really fit with anything else, so we put them there. That's kind of why I got so upset with why Pirate became the first Outlander hero. Pirate, to me, fits very well with the Wulin. She's from Canton. The character she's based on is from China. She speaks Cantonese. She's got a lot of design and look that reminds me of the Wulin. I think she could have very easily been added to the Wulin and allowed the Wulin to have one more hero, which would have allowed them to catch up a little better with the other factions. Making her the first Outlander, I think, was a little bit of a cop-out. But to me, if that was your excuse, like say, oh, but you know, she's not really connected to the Wulin personally, so she should totally be an Outlander. Okay, then why didn't you make Griffin the first Outlander? Griffin has said that he didn't really see himself as a knight anymore. He was kind of fighting for his own reasons, fighting for his own goals. His fighting style, language usage is an amalgamation of different cultures that he's interacted with. Why wasn't he the first member of the Outlanders? I think that would have been a smarter idea. That way the knights don't have one too many warriors right now. They could be knocked down a peg. We have our first introduction to the Outlanders and we could go from there. I think that would have been a smarter idea, but you know, tit for tat, what's done is done. But that's what I think the Outlanders essentially are. Just basically the warriors that For Honor wants to add that don't fit neatly into any faction. Now let me explain why this is a good thing, because some people may say, oh, that's kind of a cop-out. No, I think it's a good thing, and let me explain why. Ever since For Honor revealed that they were doing DLCs with new characters, people have been demanding new heroes be added. We've heard, we want a pirate. We got that. We want an African hero. We want a Janissary hero. We want a Rajput. We want Native Americans. We want Aztecs. We want all these different heroes. The problem is none of them fit well into any faction, because the question I'd always ask is, what faction would they go with? And they'd say, well, they could be their own faction. Questionable. But here, we could legitimately have a hero from each of these cultures be added into the Outlander faction. This creates new opportunities. It also solves a problem that For Honor's been facing for a while. One of the problems that I've often talked about with For Honor is eventually they're going to run out of weapon ideas. Note I said weapon, not hero. Let me give you an example. People have been saying for a while, hey, you know what? Why don't they have a spear hero in the Samurai? You know, the Samurai were known for using Yari spears. Why don't they have a Yari spear hero in the samurai? And that's a good question, but here's my response. Okay, let's say that we make a Yachty Spear hero. How would you design them and their animation style, like their fighting animation? How would it be different from ones like Nobushi or Valkyrie or any other polearm related hero? How would they be different? Because that's the thing, isn't it? That's the real difficulty. When Warmonger was released, people complained that her moveset was too similar to Warden. So the developers are trying to avoid copying too much movesets because they know it's going to upset us. We don't want to play a character who plays the exact same as another hero that already exists, because it begs the question, why play this new hero when we have an old hero? And if the old hero isn't as good as the new hero thanks to feats or anything like that, why would we want to play the old hero when this new hero exists? You could devalue one hero that already exists for the sake of the new one, or you could make the new one entirely obsolete because of the practicality and experience we have with the old hero. So you want to make a hero who is unique in their own way, because that's the gem of For Honor right there. That's what it's all about, isn't it? Each hero giving us a unique experience. And so we want to make sure that any new hero that's added is its own unique experience. And so how would you make a spear hero that could be totally unique from Nobushi or Valkyrie or any of these other polearm based heroes who would have, by default, a similar moveset? Because let's face it, guys, you could look across every culture and every historical warrior group in history, and each one will have at some point figured out that if you take a stick and put a sharp point at the end, it's very good for poking things. Spears, swords, clubs, they are a universal understood method of fighting. You don't have to have the Japanese interact with the Vikings or the Europeans for the samurai to figure out, hey, spears work great. They kind of figure this out on their own. Humans are very good at figuring that kind of stuff out. So I would honestly say that while it would be good to have a spear hero in the samurai or in the knights or anything like that, you've got to figure out how will we make it work differently than what already exists. And that's the tricky part. That's what they have to struggle with. So I think that adding an Outlander faction where we can go into cultures that are not already part of the factions who might have had very exotic and unique weapons would be a very good idea. Case in point, the hero that I really want to see, like the new hero that I'm really excited for them to add, if they add it, would be a Rajput. Rajput Indian warriors who were located in Rajasthan, which is kind of on the border between India and Pakistan. They had some of the most exotic weapons ever. You've got the Ada coiled sword, which is like a whip, but it's a sword. You've got Chakram flying discs. You've got the Qatar punch daggers. You've got the Khanda giant sword. You got these really creative, exotic, beautiful, but deadly weapons. And the way they use them could be very, very unique. They've got their own martial arts style called Gatka, which I think would be very interesting to see played out. They've got stuff that would be really, really interesting to pull out, and it would obviously come with its own set of moves and styles of fighting. I think you could really get creative with that, so that'd be a cool hero to add. But see how that kind of fixes the problem. You have new weapons, which means new movesets, which you won't see with any other warrior. Got your own culture to draw from. It doesn't really tie into any of the other factions, so it fits well into the Outlanders. It would be a very cool concept to my way of thinking. And other stuff that might be cool. I mean, it might be interesting to see a Janissary. You know, they have some weapons that would be interesting. Native Americans and Aztecs and Central Americans and the like would probably have some, at least one or two unique weapons to bring to the game, right? It's just going to be in how they use them. So there are hero ideas here. The Outlanders presents the opportunity to keep on adding heroes indefinitely, as long as we can find heroes from different cultures with weapons and fighting styles unique to them, or unique enough that they won't look like we're copying pasting, right? So that's the cool part. But with all that said, there are some dangers, there are some risks that come with the Outlanders. Now, granted, none of these are set in stone. The Outlanders may never bring these problems with them, but I do potentially see them. There are three specifically, and I'll try to explain them here, so follow me on this one. The first major risk of the Outlanders is devolving the narrative. Here, think about the narrative that For Honor's taken since its beginning. You have a great cataclysm that shakes the world, right? Then you have these three factions that rise up from the ashes, the Knights, the Samurai, and the Vikings, and they're fighting each other for supremacy. 1,000 years pass, the three factions are kind of petering out. They're kind of tired of fighting. So Apollyon comes along and resparks the war to get things going. In the midst of this war, suddenly a new faction arrives called the Wulin, They want to fight the other 3 factions too, and they want to fight for dominance because their land is being destroyed. They want a new place to call home. So now we have 4 factions fighting. Time goes on. Suddenly it looks like another cataclysm is on the way, so they pull out their best. The Knights pull out their Harbinger, the Samurai pull out their Harbinger, the Vikings pull out their Harbinger, and the Wulin pull out their Harbinger. The Harbinger year arrives, and we've now got the war even more spiced up. It's even more crazy. Then we decide, when the cataclysm didn't come after all, we decide, you know what, let's try for peace. So we have the Truce of Wyverndale, and everyone seems happy and friendly at first, but then Astria comes along wanting to do the same thing Apollyon did, and resparks the war and introduces the Order of Horkos, which isn't its own culture. It's basically a accumulation of different warriors who want to see war return to Heathmore. They start to take over and form a tyranny, but now a resistance movement comes up and fights back that tyranny, and then we get the introduction of Griffin returning with the Chimera Alliance. Now it's no longer really the Knights, Samurai, and Vikings and Wulin fighting each other. It's more of Horkos and Chimera. And guys, when that happened, a couple of people did come out of the woodwork to say, this doesn't feel right. The game sold itself on Knights versus Samurai versus Vikings. We were willing to accept the Wulin. But now you're saying it's not even those 4 factions anymore. It's 2 alliances, 2 organizations fighting each other that have these groups locked in them. That seems a little strange. Now, me personally, I was able to deal with it because I thought that, it brought a new flavor to the whole game, to the whole narrative. I thought that it was a nice progression of ideas, so I was okay with it. Then along comes Kyoshin, who doesn't really fit into any of the 2 groups. He just wants peace to return to the world. And then the pirate arrives, who shakes everything up. She's not part of any of the groups either, but she is after her own thing. Now, what's she after? She's after ancient relics, or ancient treasures, supposedly. So what's the very first treasure? The Holy Grail. And I know that they have another name for it, but it's essentially the Holy Grail. And so this new year starts with us going back in time to the very first Warden, and wyverns flying around, and legends about giants, and how the cataclysm started, and all this stuff. And now I'm kind of getting whiplash going, whoa, okay. We had a sudden shift there. So far, the narrative structure, starting from the beginning with the cataclysm all the way up to the arrival of the pirate, there were some questionable moments, but it felt like an obvious chain of events. It was like a domino effect. Remember that I said this in my writing advice. It should always be a cause and effect. Because of the cataclysm, the factions started fighting. Because the factions started fighting, resources became scarce. Because resources became scarce, they decided to stop fighting. Because they decided to stop fighting, Apollyon comes along and gets things started again. Because Apollyon got things started again, that introduced more fighting. Because more fighting was happening, the land became a center of attention for the Wulin who arrived. Each thing led into another. Now we have the pirate arrives to Heathmore, and because of that, the first Warden and Wyverns. What? Wait, whoa, how, when, where, what, why? It's like, it kind of shocked me. Now, if we say that the Wyverndale issues and Ramiel and all that is just legends, like maybe the pirate telling them the legend so that they know why she's there and what she's after, that's excusable. But as we go further in with the Outlanders and further into this new year, and we see more things like this pop up, the question's going to be asked, where's the narrative going? What's the new goal? What's the new issue? What's the new conflict that we're looking at? That question will come up, and the developers have to have that answer. But that's just the first one, and it's not a real problem yet, but it's something to keep in mind. The second, it may pull attention away from the central point of the game. Now, this kind of ties into the last one, but what is the central point of the game? Leaving aside the narrative, the central point of the game is Knights, Vikings, Samurai, fight. Who wins? That was kind of the central point. And ever since then, the game has always kind of walked away from that. It started out that way with fight for the faction war and be the faction that wins the campaign, that kind of thing. And we still do that, but does anyone care anymore? It used to be that you won these really big awards. You got a unique ornament, you got a unique emblem design, you got all these unique stuff for winning the faction war for that year, or season, for that season. But they don't even do that anymore. Now the winner of the campaign or season just kind of gets a unique, it kind of gets a few scavenger crates and some steel. It's not really that big a deal. And it's not like picking your faction at the beginning of the game. When you join the game for the first time, you'll be asked to pick your faction. But there's no real intrinsic value to it other than the shape of your emblem. Being a knight, I'm a knight boy, right? I joined the Knights. Being on the Knights team doesn't mean I only play Knights. It doesn't give me any advantages to the Knights faction, and it doesn't increase my stats with the Knights automatically. You know, there's no real intrinsic merit to it except for the fact that during the faction war, my efforts will go towards the Knight faction's victories. But the victories aren't for any large rewards anyway, so it's not really that big of a deal. Eventually, with the arrival of these Outlanders, as the Outlanders begin to grow and grow and grow and become more prominent in the game, will we lose sight of that initial conflict between the original three factions? Many people were afraid of this when the Wulin arrived. When the Wulin arrived, they said, no, it's just supposed to be these three. And I was kind of like, I don't see the issue. I think we can add a fourth. That's not too big of a deal. But now with all these Outlanders, each one being from a different culture or place or people, the question is going to be asked, okay, has that devalued the original conflict at all? I don't think it will, but that is a question that I wanted to raise, an issue that could be brought up. And then the last one, and this is a point of contention, so please guys be patient with me. But I brought this up previously in one of my older videos about the introduction of new factions. One of the major dangers, I like that, major dangers. One of the major dangers of adding a new faction or new hero from another culture is the problematic nature of it. Now, let me be clear. I do not care about what kind of heroes you want to add to For Honor. You want an African hero? Go for it. It'd be cool. You want a Muslim hero? I'm excited for that. That'd be a neat idea. Native American hero? Go for it. These are not issues for me as long as the heroes are designed well, have a unique animation quality, and bring flavor to the game. It's great, but there are lots of people out there who do take issue with this. Remember, when the game was first released, there were articles written about how the game is problematic and potentially Islamophobic and racist because a lot of Knight fans were going Deus Vult in community Reddit posts and posts online about the game. And so people were using Deus Vult to say, oh, it's a white supremacist game. I did a response video where I talked about how there were so many male characters and the female characters in the game, according to this article writer, were problematic. See, here's the thing. There are people out there who want to find problems with everything. And so far, For Honor has done a great job of dodging around these issues. But if you add a character like, let's say that they add a Janissary, a Muslim hero. You add a Caliph or a Turco-Ottoman, whatever. Say that you add a Muslim hero. And the Muslim hero fights a Knight hero, and the Knight hero wins, and the person playing the Knight hero goes, Deus Vult, infidel, in the chat. To us, to you and me, not an issue. Just part of the game. But to an onlooker, to someone watching that online or watching that in a YouTube video, clearly Islamophobic, clearly racist, clearly white supremacist. For Honor needs to be canceled. For Honor needs to be held accountable for these obvious issues. You need to take away the chat. You need to take away this. You know what? And you guys might say, Raven, are you serious? You can't say it hasn't happened to other projects before. I don't want to see it happen to For Honor. I personally would not have a problem with a Muslim hero. I think it would be great. I'm talking about the people out there who have thin skin and want to look for an issue to complain about. The same goes for like if we had an African hero. Right now, skin color is something you can choose to customize for any of your heroes. You can go anywhere from pale white to dark brown, right? If you add an African, let's say that they add a Zulu warrior, okay, just for example, would you also be able to make a white Zulu? Or would they make it so that they can only be brown or black? Now, personally, I don't care. Do what you want. But know that there are going to be people. There are going to be people who complain, hey, if they're just all brown, that takes away customization options for me. And if they go the other way and allow you to make a white Zulu, someone's going to say, hey, that's whitewashing. Again, for me, not an issue. For you, not an issue. But there are people in this world who want to find reasons to whine. They want to complain about things. And anytime you add something new or risky or involving of other races, cultures, and creeds, someone is going to jump on it and say, all right, how can I complain about this? You can't deny that's a possibility. Now, I don't want For Honor to be afraid of those people. I want For Honor to give those people the finger like I would give them the finger. Just basically say, grow up, get over yourself. It's a game, and we have the right and ability to be creative and have fun with this game. I want them to look them in the eye and say, get over it. It's that simple. The problem is, I am concerned that if that were to happen, they would cave. Because remember, we no longer have genders in For Honor, we have type 1 and type 2. A minor thing, but a sign that there will be moments where they go, maybe they're right. We should cave. We should bend over for people who honestly don't care. Do they really think that if they cave to these people, it'll somehow placate them? Now, let me be clear. Let me be abundantly clear now that I've gone over all the dangers. Do I think that these 3 problems that I brought up will hurt the game or hurt Outlanders overall? No, I don't. In fact, I don't think there's any reason to be concerned just yet. However, the 2 new heroes that are coming this year, starting next season, are going to be Outlanders. And whoever they are, they're bound to bring something new and creative to the game. At least I hope they do. But with new comes problems. There are going to be people who do not like them, either because they're too OP starting out, their design is too familiar, or they feel it breaks the game somehow. And if those are the only complaints we get, fine. We've dealt with those complaints before when we had Warmonger and Griffin and Kyoshin. We can deal with those. We can discuss those. We can hash those out in-game. But if the problems that come with them hurt the narrative of the game, hurt the central idea and point of the game, or bring in the whiners of the internet to come out and say, "This game problematic," then you can bet that it's going to start to make the developers sweat. And I don't want to see that happen. Okay? So, summarize to final it all out to finish it up. I'm excited for what the Outlanders are bringing. I think this is a cool idea and a much needed idea. I'm excited to see the ideas that they bring forward. I'm excited to see the heroes that come out of this. I'm really looking forward to a Rajput hero. That's the one that I'm really putting my money on because I think that that one is a no-brainer for the Outlanders. So, Debs, if you're listening, hey, Rajput, you heard it from me. And as for the problems, as long as the developers play their cards right, I don't think these will be an issue. I think that these can be just swept under the rug and said, well, those were problems that we thought might happen, but they didn't happen. And don't be afraid to fight back, Don't be afraid to stick up and say, hey, you know what? These were the decisions we made, and we're proud of them. But anyway, that's what I had to say about that. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Sorry it's been a while since I released a For Honor video, and hopefully once my hand is fully back to normal, I will be able to do some more For Honor stuff and get some more For Honor content out there. In the meantime, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Take care.